Welcome back to the second section in the transformation chapter. The transformation that we're going to look at today is the translation. A translation is also called a slide. We're also going to look at compositions of rigid motions. A composition of a rigid motion is more than one transformation on a single coordinate plane. When we talk about orientation, we're going to be referring to the direction of the figure. A translation is a rigid motion. It keeps the same angle measures and side lengths. Okay, right here in the purple bubble, we have a translation rule. This is translation notation, and this is the translation point. And they both refer to the same kind of a transformation. This one says that any point x, y, you're going to subtract 4 from the x coordinate and subtract 6 from the y coordinate. This one tells you the same thing. For the x, you subtract 4. For the y, you subtract 6. And what's happened over here, we have triangle ABC is our pre-image. And for each one of these points, A, B, and C, we're going back 4 and down 6. That's -4, -6. And -4, -6, -4, -6. Okay, let's take a look at a simple translation. This one down here, we have the pre-image of EFG, and according to our translation rule, we're going to add 7 and we're going to subtract 4. So add 7 means we're going to go to the right 7, and subtract 4 means we're going to go down 4. So let's take a look at point F. We're going to go to the right 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to give us F prime. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to give us E prime. And finally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to give us G prime. And then we can take a straight edge, connect our points, and we have our transformed image. Okay, let's take a look at writing a translation rule. That's easy enough. Go from one of your original points to one of your transformed points. S seems to be one that's easy to follow. So this one, we're going to get from S to S prime, we have to go back 1, which means -1, and we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, which means -4. So our translation point is -1, -4. Looking at a single point, this is P, this is P prime. So we're going to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a +5. And then we're going to go up 2, which is a +2. So our transformation point is T, 5, 2. Okay, let's take a look at a composition of rigid motions. There are a number of steps here. As you can see, we have 3 steps, and you want to follow these in this order. So right here, we have a reflection over line L and a transformation or a translation of -2, 5. This is going to seem odd, but the translation is going to come first. So step 1 is going to be the translation. And your translation is T, -2, 5, which means to the left 2 and up 5. Okay, this one right here. That little dot right there, that little circle, that means composition of 2 transportations. So composition of 2 transformations. In English, when you have a composition, that's more than one paragraph that's pulled together. In math, specifically transformations, a composition is more than one transformation pulled together. And then your step 2 is going to be your reflection. And your reflection is going to be over line L. Okay, so let's take a look at writing compositions. It doesn't have to be a translation and then a reflection. It can be a couple of translations. So if we're looking at these two translations right here, we're going to go to the right 3 and down negative and down 2, to the right 1 and down 1. We can go ahead and add those together, and it would look like this: 3, -2, and 1, -1, and turn it into one transformation. And if we did that, it would be a translation of 4, -3. 3 plus 1 is 4. -2 plus -1 is -3. And we would end up with a transformation point of 4, -3. And that would be what we would do if we wanted to combine those two translations into one transformation. Let's try that again. With these two translations, we can say -4, 0 plus -2, 5. Add these two together. -4 plus -2 is -6. 0 plus 5 is 5. And we're going to end up with a translation point of -6, 5. And it's probably easier to go ahead and add those together and do one translation instead of doing two translations. So combining those like that is probably going to save you some time. Okay, finally, the last thing that we're going to look at is relating the translations and the reflections. So let's go ahead and take a look at this example. This example is discussing a pre-image of triangle EDF, and I've already graphed mine. You may want to pause the video and go ahead and graph yours so that you can work in the same order that I'm going to work in. Okay, we have a reflection over line N and a reflection over the R-axis. Okay, so we've got two different things happening here. And then we are told that line N is equal to y equals 1. So right here, this says N, and you may be wondering what the heck is N. Well, N is told right here that the line N is the line with equation y equals 1. So let's go ahead and mark that. Y equals 1 is a line that's going to go right through here. Okay, so first we are going to reflect over the x-axis because we're going to do the second one first. Always do the second one first. So it says, what translation image is equivalent to these two things? Well, let's go ahead and do this reflection and see what happens. So we've got, if we're reflecting over the x-axis, that's going to be this part right here. These 2 points are not going to move because we're already there. This point E is going to come down. We're going to count this 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be right here. Okay, so we end up with this reflection right here. Okay, so this would be D prime, E prime, or F prime, and E prime. Okay, now the second part of this is the first part of our composition, which means flipping it back over this line right here. So we're going to flip this. We're going to go up 1 and right here. And F prime is going to go to this point and then one more. And then finally E prime is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. And we're going to end up with a triangle right here. Okay, so this then is going to be E double prime, F double prime, and D double prime right here. And I'm going to kind of shade this in so we can see what our final one is. This is our pre-image, and this is our final reflection. So that being the case, the original question was, what translation could we have done to come up with this composition of reflections? And so if you look at what has actually happened, we've got D prime of our original went up 2, okay, and it didn't go across anywhere, so it went over 0 and up 2. And that is the translation that would have given us the same final image as the 2 reflections that we just did. Okay, so that's about all there is to this. Again, if you have any questions, make a note of them, and you can ask them in class. See ya.